And there's a bunch of people out there that have these lives that are deeply unsatisfying, because I think somehow or another, through momentum and just through just things falling into place the way they are, and people trying to fit their lives around the way these pieces have fallen into place, there are so many people that are working all day long doing something that is deeply unsatisfying and almost painful to them.
Yes.
If you make furniture for a living, and you feel a great satisfaction out of that, and you sell that furniture, look, man, making furniture feels good. If you can do that, you could cut those corners perfectly and sand everything down nice and stain it, and then it's done, and you get this satisfaction, and you sell it to someone, and that pays your bills. That is infinitely more satisfying than being stuck in some fucking cubicle working for someone that you don't want to work for, having to have these stupid fucking office meetings, talking to people in human resources, sitting down with your supervisor where they evaluate your job performance, and you're not really, you really need to be enthusiastic about this company. This company is your future. This kind of you're like, fuck, kill me now. There's a lot of people out there that would way rather do something else, and I hope they understand that they can. Everybody's got these stupid barriers they put in their own head. You got to resist those goddamn things, because they don't do you any good, and they certainly define the potential for your future in a negative way that's not self-serving, and it's not even real. You put this artificial ceiling on the potential for what you're doing. If you hit a wall, okay, that just means you need to regroup and rethink. It doesn't mean that wall's there, especially when it comes to something like social media or like a podcast, something where you like it less, fix that. Figure out a way to do it. You can do that. And this idea that there's no way to get past the starting block today is just ludicrous. It's crazy. And it's just this poor thinking. And people that are trapped in bad situations, one of the problems is you feel like this is your future. You feel like you're fucked and you can't get out of that. There's no hope. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no rainbow. And if you feel like that, that alone can be incredibly defining and limiting. But if you look at yourself objectively and say, okay, I kind of am fucked here. I'm in credit card debt. I'm working in a shitty job. I don't like what I'm doing, but I have some ideas. I need to feed those fucking ideas. I need to feed them and water them, and I need to set aside a certain amount of time every day to just try to make those things happen. You can do that. Wondering why other people's success, or wondering why other people are successful, is the refuge of losers. Wondering why other people are successful. Like, who gives a fuck? You can say you think it sucks, but to spend time wondering why someone is successful and hating on someone successful, it doesn't do any good. It's like, what is that old expression that jealousy is, it's a poison that does the opposite of its intended? Is that your mind, you have a certain amount of bandwidth. This is why I don't read Instagram comments or Twitter comments or YouTube comments. Like, I don't have any time. If I read them, it's an accident. But to seek them out, like, you have bandwidth. I don't spend time wondering why I hate things or hating on someone or being jealous. You have, let's call it units. You have 100 units of bandwidth in your mind. So that means there's 100 units that you can spend on things you care about, or you could let your mind be occupied by some stupid fucking Twitter feud that you're in with some idiot that you don't even know, and you could spend 30% of your Twitter bandwidth or your mind bandwidth on this, and then you only have 70% for the things you love. And then maybe you're involved in some fucking relationship with someone who's an idiot, and you're arguing back and forth with them. Well, there's another 30% that's gone. Now you have 40% left. You have 40% for the things you love instead of 100%. But if you only concentrate on the things you care about that mean something to you, and I think that there's a lot of people out there that think somehow or another you're going to get to some place where you're living in silk sheets and you're getting your toes done while someone's dropping grapes into your mouth. I don't want that. I've never wanted that. That guy's not going to be happy. He's going to be bored. An hour into the grapes, you're going to get those fucking grapes away from me. Stop painting my toes. What am I doing in this bed? I got to do something. I'm not stimulated. The human organism, the animal that we are, needs constant stimulation because it evolved trying to find food and escape enemies. and find shelter, escape nature, escape the elements, try to survive. And this is the great joy that you have in taking care of your children, that you can protect your children from the elements and the enemies and feed them. And it's also the great sadness that you see in losers. When I see a loser, I see some guy who's 43 years old, lives in his parents' basement, and he fucking hates the world. I'm like, that was a baby. Man, this is a baby that somebody just gave shitty nutrients to, whether it's nutrients in the forms of food or in the form of thoughts and ideas and examples, and this kid developed these horrible self-defeating patterns of behavior that have led them to this point where they're this middle-aged person with no future and no idea of how to get out of this rut, and probably never will escape it, and might just wind up sucking on a gun. You know, I mean, this is the world that we live in today. And I think part of that world is because we have been fed this line of horseshit that you're supposed to seek comfort. And I don't think you are. I think you're supposed to seek lessons, and you're supposed to seek difficult tasks and accomplishments. And through those things, and through doing things that are hard to do, even if it's just a fucking 90-minute hot yoga class. I do a 90-minute yoga class, man. Those last 20 minutes, I do not want to be there, man. And I definitely don't want to give 100%. And I can cheat. I could kind of half-ass it. But if I don't, and I get through it, when that time is up and the lady says namaste and everybody gets up, I'm like, fuck, man, I made it. You know, I lost 15 pounds. My fucking yoga mat is drenched to the point where I could literally wring it out and fill a jug up with water. But through that struggle, I will now have a better day, and I better fucking do it again tomorrow, or do something else. Because if I just think, well, tomorrow I'm just gonna coast and eat Twinkies and watch TV. Oh, hello sadness, my old friend. Hello depression. Because when you're not doing anything, you feel like shit. And that's just a part of being a human being. And we can pretend that we're something other than what we really are. And we can pretend, nah, me, man, I'm just cool, just chilling, doing nothing. Bullshit. You're a fucking human. You're a human being. You evolved from the fucking hundreds of thousands of years of hunters and gatherers and people that were struggling. Those human reward systems are carved deeply into your DNA. And if you don't respect that, if you don't respect the mechanism of happiness and fulfillment and what you really need to do in order to feel satisfied in life, camaraderie, love, family, friendship, struggle, testing yourself, learning, all those things are imperative. They're all a giant part of being a person. Concentrating on people that suck or being jealous about people that are doing well does me zero good. But instead, if someone does well, I can be inspired and I can get fired up by it. I mean, I figured this out in my early 20s. I was like, okay, this is I have a poor way of looking at it because it's a martial arts thing. Because in martial arts, like, you can't be jealous of someone else's ability. You have to realize you might have to fight them someday. So by realizing that they're really good, you're forced to be objective about it. And you have to go to work. Like, you have to go, fuck, that guy's better than me. I got to get better. And you have to go to work.
Right.
There's no positive benefit in underestimating someone. Underestimating someone will get you fucking killed. Like, literally. You're gonna get. But this is something I've cultivated for a